Hi everyone, my name is Kumar Pallav. I have been a student of management program at IIM Lucknow. And the objective of today's meeting to discuss the factors which affects the overall presentation or overall performance of a student into their CAT prep. And we are privileged to have Sarthak, one of my previous student. Sarthak Jain, welcome. Sarthak is born and brought up in Jaipur, and he got training under one of the premier institutions, headquartered in Delhi, and his score in CAT was overall 98.07. In Quant, he scored 99.05. And in DILR, he scored 96 percentile. And the suffering starts when he scored 77 percentile in verbal. And that's the story, which is interesting enough to discuss today. How group coaching or personalized coaching, which is the core objective of GMATO, the organization for which we are working. You all know GMATO is a platform where few of the IIMs pass out. And Sarthak, when we met in Jaipur,
yes,
to take your GDPI program, and whatever discussion we had into that coffee shop, I don't know exactly what the name is of that coffee shop where we spent hours and hours for your GDPI.
So this was, tea stall, something like that.
Something like that, chai coffee stall or tea stall, something name was there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so coming to the point, Sarthak, just to start with your mental preparation from CAT, how you thought of CAT, how you get into coaching institution, why you get into coaching institution, how group study was helpful, and what happened since it was a period of pandemic as well. So how that affected your studies, and what else could have been done, or what students should avoid to do when they are thinking of their CAT prep. It's all to you.
During my graduation, as I was a BCom student, so there was not much to do. So at that point of time, I used to teach around 9 to 12 students at a coaching institute. But sir, when the pandemic struck, then in the third year of my graduation, we were kind of off path that what to do next. And at the same time, since I had an entrepreneurial interest, I thought that taking some MBA knowledge, going into an MBA would be very helpful. But doing it from any local institute, or to say as a subpar institute, is not of excellence as of these days, since competition is too much. So then most of the students just get the same thought as of me, that why not take CAT and try my luck out in this exam also, that whether I can do or not, since I had a pretty good academic command over the subject. So I thought that maybe I could crack it. But at the same time, since there was no knowledge that how these competition exams takes place and what are the qualities that are needed to be inculcated in order to boost your preparation, I also did the same. I took the same initiative, or you can say a mistake also at the same time, that to join a institute for the same. Okay. And not to name, but it was a pan-India institute. So I enrolled into the program where they charge you hefty fees also. Now, once I get there, initially two months, there was no, online classes, they were completely online classes at the time.
Okay.
So there was kind of detachment from the group studies that I felt could be helpful. But that story also does not go well, because later on, there was a month in between where we could go to the institute for about 25 odd days between the pandemic. But then I realized that group studies are not that helpful also. So the main challenge that you get when preparing for CAT is, if you don't get the concepts well from the mentor, whoever is teaching, then the suffering starts. And the direction that you get into the group studies at the institute these days is pretty subpar also. or you can say superfluous. What I felt was that the main focus of these institutes at today's point of time is to get higher revenues and higher number of enrollments. I don't think so that they are dedicatedly focused towards preparation plan of each and every student. So I too felt the same issues that when I had a problem in so and so topic, then that topic was not the concern of the mentors. So due to that collective teaching, or you can say that lack of interest towards the betterment of students just for profit maximization concept, I feel that the students get neglected and their performance start deteriorating. And by the time students start taking mocks, the cat takes over them and people get disheartened just because they get initially very bad scores. So that is the point of time when I too faced utmost difficulty that my decision to do cat was itself getting challenged. Whether I will be able to score or not, that becomes so stressful at that point of time. So I think
Sarthak, it's an interesting data. If I just one input I'll have to share with you so that you can carry it further too. Out of the 50% of students who take admission in such institutions, drop the idea in the month of August when they start taking mark, and they compromise to get into any of the base schools. If we talk about certain data facts, around 216,000 students take CAT every year. And most of the students who take CAT are always trained by any of the institutions. Now, just think of if we collect all IIMs, PGD, PGP programs students, it will go around 4,000 to, with baby IIMs, it will may go to 4,500 or 5,000 around. So for 4,000 or 5,000 admissions, around 216,000 students get trained. And the most interesting data is out of that 4,000 or 5,000 students who, like you, who get into 2 IIMs, 50% of them are just mock test takers from the portals of the very institutions or from other sources. Now, to train 2,000, 2,500 students to get into IIMs, the institution required 216,000 students who are the CAT takers. Just think of the percentage data. Out of 216,000 or say 220,000, they get the score of, or they get entry of 2,200 students, which is just 1% of their story. So that's what the outcome of this institution. 1% of the students who are getting trained. Of course, the data needs micro-examination as well, but overall, if we talk about data, so what you said that somewhere or the other students start disheartening in the month of August, where your pain started, the story will continue further. It's your turn, Sarthak. I just shared certain factual data with you.
Sir, it's absolutely correct to say that 1% people make into the IIMs out of the 220 so-called students. I think this is a factor that I think your data definitely supports. That when you actually go into the hectic CAT prep preparation in the month of final 3 months, August, September, October, then the things started changing and the story starts changing, because now you know that the competition has gone very high, and at that point of time your all the level of confidence is because of your past 4 months preparation, because most of the students start from July onwards and they go to these institutes, they learn the same concepts, but then when they start taking mock, they realize what has happened to them. So that's the thing. The same challenge occurs to almost all the students in the present scenario, because it's become the trend that if you want to do CAT, you go to an institute, then you start preparing into the classes. But then at the month of August, you realize, okay, so I have done something wrong. I should have not done this way, because it's very generalized. All are giving the same material, all are given the same lectures, and none is given the focus or the dedicated attention that okay, this guy is doing this level of performance and he could improve in so and so area. But if there is no mentor or if there is nobody looking after you, then maybe that problem will never get solved. And so it happened in my in BARC section also, that I faced a lot of challenges in getting my scores better and better, but the thing was not happening. And there this problem comes into the picture, that if you don't have the mentor who could give you personal attention, then it becomes really difficult for any good student also to score in those areas where he is weak. And CAT is an exam where you play on your strengths. If you don't know your strengths, you can never crack that exam to say. And if you know your strength, then CAT is the easiest exam, I would say. Because if I look at my scores only, having 99 in quants and 96 in DLR, I don't think that it is a very strange thing for me to happen, because I know my strengths and weakness in those sections. But when you take VARC, then I don't know actually what needs to be attempted then and there, and that is never discussed in the class. These strategies, that so-called strategies that institutes advertise, that we give you so and so strategy to clear this much in CAT, I think that's just so-called only, and it's not actually optimally utilized during the exam or practically doable. I mean, when you give the marks, then you realize that there are a lot of shortcomings which needs to be catered to. But by the time you go to your mentor, either it is resolved or it's too late to go to the mentor, because at that rigid point of time, your personal attention is not there. So let's say
what
if
happens,
I gave a
basically, if I'm not interrupting you, I'm talking about institution side. Every institution is either a franchisee operation. Since we have been the part of such institution at certain point of time in my career, so either it's a franchisee operation or it's a company owned center. In either of the ways, there are 5 to 10 employees. There is an infrastructure cost, and at the end of the day, profit has to be there. Now,
yes,
since profit has to be there, the only product CAT is not offered at such institution.
yes,
Such institution, if I talk as a representative of those institution, we have other products like CLAT, SNAP, and other bankings.
yes.
We sell a series of products which comes under aptitude training. And in the month of July, what happens? Students get their result of third year, be it plain graduation or engineering programs. Now there comes certain students who are coming for CLAT. At the same time, certain students are coming for CAT. So the entire focus of the team at a particular center or from headquarters itself gets shifted to cater more and more students in the month of July, August, and September, so that we can offer 1 year CLAT program to them. Now,
Yes,
and these are the crucial months, July, August, and September. Whether you are with the page or you are out of the race. And there is the time when faculty even don't get that much time to be with their students. And this entire concept of institutional training drive us at GMATO to get into personalized training program, where one mentor, one student. I will introduce the product with you, what I developed in last 4 or 5 months. Understanding the need. We have a sample of around 2,000 students who got trained under certain institutional training, and they all compromised with certain B or B plus sort of institutions, colleges. What happens in the month of July when they started taking mocks, or August they started taking mocks, and they score? See what happens. Either you are lacking the right selection of the questions, or you are lacking inefficient concept, inadequate concept of the chapter, or else you don't, as far as VRC is concerned, where your score violation. What might have happened at that point of time, you may not be understanding the author's approach, or how author is doing, and there was no one to discuss. So that's to fill that gap, we came out with the concept of one student, one mentor. So when we were discussing, a friend of mine who is a product of IIM Ahmedabad, Syam, he asked me, sir, won't a student doubt that one faculty would be able to train all the 3 domains? Which might be a query for everyone. Now, Sarthak, since you have been to CAT journey and now you are into IIM Rohtak, so you can understand. If being a student starting from the month of March or April till November, you can have a depth of the 3 domains, DILR, VRC, and Quant, to a score around 99-100 percentile. Won't a faculty who has taken CAT at his time or her time, and for last 10-20 years is teaching the same domain, would be able to have grip on all the 3 areas?
Absolutely, sir. Why not?
Absolutely.
It's very much possible.
Very much possible. And that's the concept,
Yes.
where one person is solely responsible. It's your personal mentor, you and your mentor. That's why we have a tagline of a you ecosystem, where everything works for you. Course material, we don't have a standardized course material, study material, course material jisko bolte. We have student specific course material. Why so? Because a student may need 25% of 50 is how much? He may not be knowing when he or she comes to us. And a student
Yes.
might be coming to us solving difficult question of percentage, difficult question of function, difficult question of graphs, difficult question of geometry and mensuration. So if we provide the same customized material to everyone, there is no use of spoiling the time of that student who has done extra effort or is playing on his strength. Like you played on quant, and when you might have joined an institution for quant, the further, I guess certain startup lectures of percentage or any of the chapters might not be useful for you, because you might be knowing all the, but you'll have to spend the hours in the classroom just because other batchmates might not be knowing, and the faculty has to complete the coursework. So how you see this program, since you have been experience holder of institutional training, and as well as we got some time to spend individually for your GDPI programs on verbals. I said number of hours with you. What helped you more? And do you think out of the two, if you have to select at this point of time, personal mentorship, then that of institutional training, which one you'll select and why?
Sir, I would definitely select personal mentorship only, because when we used to sit, or I don't know how many hours we have spent together, but those things are still with me today. I can relate to some of the concepts that we have discussed personally, and these things stick to you, because that's the topic of conversation that's oriented towards you. When you are the guy who is facing some difficulty in understanding something, and you discuss it out, and you're personally catered to that thing, then that gives you clarity on that aspect, which is important to you, and you remember it. And while you go to the classrooms are usually 2 hours long, 120 minutes, and it is scientifically proven that a person can give maximum of 75 minutes attention to anything. So if you are going 35 plus minutes, then that attention is also lagged by the students, and at the same time some things are so easy or either so difficult for an average student that he loses the attention, and the whole concept of the class gets deteriorated. So personal mentorship is very much helpful. And also, while preparing for CAT, you face issues in some sections or some topics. Instead of everything that you need to study, you can cover 60% yourself and 40% you need help. So when you have the person mentor, that 40% will be catered to, and if it is your weakness, it either comes into your something that you can attempt in the exam. You can think of attempting from going to weakness to coming a bit towards strength area, and the strength that you have will also have deficiencies in some aspect where you really need to change something, because even though they are your strengths, but the way the question will be put to you, or given to you, you might get confused a bit here and there. And there you need to understand some things which, while doing the preparation, you will encounter the problems. But because of the common classroom structure, you might not be able to cater them. So having a personal mentor will also give you strengths getting improvised in these aspects. So overall, if you look or compare, then classroom program will have some points that will be, that will have some negative points that will be positively catered to in the personal mentorship program. That's what I feel. And given the pandemic, most of the students are either not going to the institutes because of the health issues, or the parents are not aligned. So then they feel this alienation problem also, that I don't know what is going on outside and what I should do. So at this point of time, if you get a personal mentor, and that too for throughout the year, then I think at any point of time, your any problem will be catered easily. And that could give you a very good edge over others who are going into generalized programs. Okay, sir.
Sarthak, now coming to some generic ASOs. Last day, I had a word with certain students from Premier Engineering College in Mumbai, and they're taking CAT this year. They have been trained under certain institutions. And again, when they have started taking CAT, the mocks, their score is around 5 to 6 questions in quant, hardly 2 set of DIs, LR, and it's gone the time. Verbal, they are scoring around 4 or 5 questions, even 1 RC, and the entire timing is getting over. Although they have been taken 4 months classroom program from the institutions. Now they're so creepy in their approach. Sir, हमें तो नहीं देना, CAT हमसे ना हो पाएगा. Now, what exactly they should do? I advise them, but since you are the current sufferer of the entire process, how you tackle with that? It will be a pleasant experience at the same time, worth listening to you. What one should do if the scores are too low in the month of September, first week, what a student should do to safeguard the dream of getting into IIMs?
Sir, clearly, if you are in the month of September, then you have September, October, and November, almost 20 days, 20 odd days. So we can count around 80 odd days that a student has, right? So I think that when you do any preparation for CAT of sort, then it could be categorized into 3 aspects. First, you do the preparation where you learn the concept, understand the concept, and inculcate those concepts into complex questions that CAT gives you. But at that point of time, while you're preparing, there is no time foundation. So you're just trying to understand the concept given how much time you put there. Second is the preparation zone where you individually understand each and every sections. You go through each section and prepare them specifically. So you can say 5 sectional tests you give and understand the intricacies of each section. And then last is this, when you combine all the 3 sections into a mock, and you understand the intricacies of the mocks, how they give you that emotional, or you can say mental stress while giving the mock under time foundation. So that is the thing. So if you are in the month of September, you can give 30 odd days to preparing the concepts that you like. Now it is not the time that you can based on your weaknesses.
Now there's the real question, Sarthak. What happens? We advise them to get into all the concept clear. Now they don't have someone to clear their concept because institute said we have completed your syllabus. I advise them the same, keep first go through the areas which we feel are not getting right in the test papers. Sir, kisse puche?
I think there is a misunderstanding. Maybe the concept that you have as at GMATO, that can cater to the weakness areas as well as most of the areas. I'm talking about that institutional situation where you will not get the opportunity to cater your weaknesses. You're not getting the opportunity to cater your strengths issues. How will you get the opportunity to cater your weaknesses? So, when you get personal mentor, then definitely pick out the topics that have a higher weightage in the exams in order to safeguard at that point of time, and try to understand them better in the first 30 odd days, and then you take the sectional test, and then finally you take the mock test and get the thing sorted out. So I think that's the way one should go about while preparing for CAT, and having a personal mentor will allow you to plan your first 30 days efficiently. That's very much important.
All right. How do you think studying other stuff than that of VR, CDI, LR, getting connected to the rest economic world ensures your admissions into IIMs? Because we do have experience of ours. I recall the days when you were to take your interview of Rohtak, Shillong, and other places. Uh, that mistake you have already done when I met you. There was lesser exposure to the general awareness. What professors want to say you into you, sit into you, whether you are connected to the other worlds where entire business activities are taking place or not. So what experience exactly do you have after spending 2.5 good months at IIM Rohtak? No.
Sir, I think you picked a very good point to say, because
Yeah.
this is my weakest of the weakest area. And when you go to the generalized institutes,
Yeah.
they don't tell you that GK is important, or rather to say business knowledge, that whatever is happening with respect to different startups, the different type of problems that businesses face in different type of domains, HR, operations, marketing. Students are never taught any such thing in their institutes. They are just given the information how quants is to be done, how DLR is to be done, or what are the concepts, what is VRC. So the thing that happens after CAT is also the problem, because once you have written CAT, in
Hmm.
hardly 2 months you have to give interviews and GDPIs.
Hmm.
And I don't think that 2 months in any way sufficient to get the knowledge to clear these challenging rounds in order to enter a premium B school. And so is the thing that happened with me. Presently, I'm at IIM Rohtak because I think these are the rounds that I could not clear for the better institutes. To say I am Kozhikode, I am Shillong. So this is also one major area where you don't get much information while going into the generalized program. But when we discuss, under you, I still remember that we had 2.5 months of discussion. So that gave me a lot of things that I felt at that point of time. Ki, sir, aap itna kuch kaise bhi जानते हो? That thing happens because you don't read newspapers too much while preparing for CAT, because they don't tell you to read newspaper too much. Either they tell you to read the newspaper just for the preparation of VRC, but they don't tell you the essence of reading the newspapers. That you don't need to read each and everything, and you need to be very sorted out what your area of interest and what is your not area of interest. You need to cover up those things that are not your area of interest. You need to get the facts and figures also, and on the daily basis you need to read material about the economic world that will definitely help once you go into the MBA program, because
Hmm.
here those students who are good at other areas of knowledge, they will definitely take the lead over you, because once you enter the MBA journey, then your bonds, DLR and VARC are not the hardcore edge-giving topics that will place you ahead. Even if you had 99 percentile in CAT, but
Hmm.
your knowledge in other areas is low, then you're gonna suffer from FOMO here, fear of missing out. Because you will feel like I have to do this, I have to know about everything, and you don't know about anything. And that's the biggest thing that needs to be catered also for any MBA student, because business requires knowledge of multi-domain. And it should start when you start preparing from CAT. Someone should tell you that, boss, this is important. You should know various aspects. You can lose out on 2-3 areas in quants. I mean, you can miss or rather leave 2-3 topics. For example, I left geometry completely and still I got 99 percentile in quants.
Oh,
So you can
that's
miss
great.
out on those areas instead of covering 100% course with 100% efficiency and not being able to score 100% efficiently actually in the CAT. That is the problem that you can solve with the help of other domain information that you can pick up from newspaper and good articles and research papers that are being published and there. So that is very important, and it will eventually help you in VRCs. That we discussed a lot of times why I scored so low in VRC even after doing so much of practice and so much of passages, but could not still solve. And that's the same reason. You don't have the information, you won't be able to generate interest while reading the passages. You won't be able to understand the intricacy of the lines, what is written, and you miss out on that, and you're bolded. So I think having a personal mentor at that time will give you this insight that these are the areas we should discuss. Or the person mentor himself could suggest 2 topics, 3 topics on a weekly basis that one can discuss, or discuss with the mentor also and read about it himself. So that's
It's sometimes
over to you,
very,
sir.
when you start fearing that circumstances when you were a story scoring leisure, and you don't have anyone to discuss for, there the role of mentor comes a lot, because it's very emotional vacuum sort of mental status where ab kya, you feel so helpless during the period, and that feel of helplessness lead us to develop a platform called GMATO, where every student is having a personal mentor. You have a great rapport with the, it's like a friend is teaching you for cat, and a friend is sharing you for cat. And since most of the faculties at GMATO we have are from industry itself, because post MBA program from different IIMs or premier institutions, they are into corporate itself. So they know the multi-integrated domains and their exposure. So while teaching maths, I'm amazed with certain concept of ours what we have developed. We take example of SDFC Bank share market R plus studio concept into DI. What we get into data analysis or big data analysis, data hunting, and that we apply into DIL. We frame question in the during training only, depending upon the strength and weaknesses of the student. If a student is starting DI with no basic knowledge, we may get into basic details. But when a student is good enough to start with certain higher pitch, we go to there. So that way student entire efficiency is got saved. And the entire concept behind GMATO is that. Sarthak, it would be pleasure continuing with you, because since the video is getting very longer and the student may not get that kind of time, or we continue in the second video as well. So 2-3 more lines or tips we'll love to share with the 2021 CAT takers before we finish it off.
So first is have a good plan. Sort out the things that you need to do while preparing for CAT, and for that matter, taking insights from those who have already given the CAT and been into the IIMs. Second is never lose your confidence, because that's gonna give you the battle winning edge while actual CAT happens. And third is you need to consistently put efforts throughout your CAT journey, and that will develop you as a person who can actually take on the exam. That's all.
Pleasure talking to you, Sarthak. We'll make connect once you are free, because you are a student at certain places. And you know, we have been a sufferer of 2 years MBA program at IIM Lucknow. Rather than IIML, we used to say it IIM Hell.
Exactly the same is the concept here. It's IIM Rohtak, and we call it, instead of Rohtak, Athor. You spell it backward.
Oh. So that happens. Wish you all the best, whatever you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Complete your management program. We'll connect again on any Sunday or Saturday. Thank you very much to be with us. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Same, sir. It was nice to talk to you. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Bye.